Welcome back to another edition of the Witsup Weekly Grind. We're coming to you just a little bit earlier this week. I've just actually realised that my microphone... There we go. That's better. We're coming to you a little bit earlier this week because I wanted to introduce you to one of my friends and the brilliant journalist slash podcaster slash producer slash toilet paper game throwing inside her house, best introduction ever. Her name is Helen Murray. She runs the Inside Try podcast, and she's had that podcast for about 6 months or so. Actually, no, I think it was 6 months. I can see her nodding in the background, and I'm pretty sure that's right. She'll let us know in a couple of minutes. But she has actually been in the sport producing podcasts and reporting on athletes and the sport that we love for a very long time. She's a wealth of knowledge. She's a brilliant interviewer. And she came to me with an idea quite a few months ago about bringing to you guys a podcast series about the healthy body, which takes a look at body image, eating disorders, and disordered eating. And we've now released those 2 podcast episodes. And so now I invited Helen to the Witsup Weekly Grind to kind of unpack how all of that went down. So let's get her onto the screen. Please, everybody, welcome Helen Murray. Hi.
Hi, Steph. How's it going?
Not too bad for 6 o'clock in the morning. How are you doing?
I'm impressed. You see, it's like 9 p.m. here in the UK, and I'm full of energy. Like genuinely full of energy. So yeah, I think there's like a big difference. And when we recorded both of the podcasts, it was the other way around. So I was the one at like, I don't know, 7:30 in the morning, having just done yoga. Club, and you were there in the middle. What, early evening?
Yeah. And I think, look, I think it's fair to say that post-yoga suggests that better doing a podcast than doing a live video. I mean, my hair's not great this morning, but I mean, you did come to those meetings with some stellar yoga hair. I think it's fair to say.
I did, didn't I? Because I've been semi-upside down. But you know what I did today? This might make you laugh. So we've been following Yoga with Tim at 6:45 Yoga Club. I can tell you all about it, but I won't bore you. But anyway, we've been following a guy in America called Tim on YouTube. So there's Yoga with Adrian, which everybody knows. Yeah. And then there's Yoga with Tim, which I think is growing in popularity. Anyway, about 3 hours ago, Steph, I did a live over Zoom class with Tim and about 99 other people from around the world.
Wow.
It was insane.
And
I couldn't do half of it.
Question is, though, how was your hair?
Well, what's it? There's a reason it's tied back. It's all right. That's swimming hair as well today.
Oh, yes. Swimming. Wait, so that's the first swim in a long time?
3rd swim in 7 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so went from no swimming for... I don't even know what it was now, 8 weeks, 10 weeks?
Yeah, right.
To 3 times in a week.
Oh.
So our local managed open water swim venue opened up last Sunday. And you have to book on. So they've done it. They're managing it really, really well. You have to book a slot. You have to pay. You have to write your number on your hand. So then when you actually get down there, they line you up 2 meters apart at different cones. It's really, really well organised. And then they let you in one by one. The sessions, I think, have got 40 people maximum each hour. And they're doing them for 4 hours on a Sunday and a Thursday. And like tickets or, entry is like gold dust. Yeah, so today we managed to get on for the 3rd time in 7 days.
Wow. It sounds like a school camp or something. Everyone's got to write their number on their hand so no one gets lost. But hey. Yeah.
And then if you're talking to someone at the end when you get out the water, and maybe they're in a different session, so like that crossover, they're like, "Stop talking, go back to your car."
Get out of here.
Yeah, it is. Get out of
Goodness. Oh, wow. Just checking in, we have got Jordan Blanco said hi from the bike. She's on the bike. Hi, Jordan. And
Hi,
Joanne
Jordan.
Murphy has said
No
loved.
way.
Yeah. Hi, Joe. She said she loved the episode, ladies. Well done. So let's get stuck straight in to our Healthy Body podcast series, or do you call it? When does it go from a series to a mini series, or when does it go from a mini series to a series? Do you think? I think I'm going to throw this one to you, Helen.
Yeah, because I said let's call it a mini series. I think the series would be I think 3.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but I thought it's more than one, so we'll be a mini series.
So two episode podcast.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. Now the idea, we were talking about this months and months ago, but we had planned to release it it was around the COVID when things, and we both sort of agreed that maybe the timing wasn't quite right. But yeah, eventually after a few weeks, we put it out there, and the response, the feedback has been phenomenal, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been mad, and actually, I think we did make the right call not to put it out in early March, because I think there was enough serious stuff out there in the news every single day, and actually, I think in those first few weeks, you did want a bit of diversion therapy away from the news and things like that.
Sure.
And then actually, once we got into a bit more of a routine in lockdown and things like that, it did make complete sense then to put it out. And quite a few people who have been in touch and have said how much they've enjoyed it and things have said you couldn't have got the timing better, because people are training more some people are training more at the moment. Some people's training habits have completely changed. One person actually got in touch with me, Steph, today, and said that their partner is doing so much more training at the moment, and they're actually pretty worried about involuntary redis, which we touched on in episode 2, which was on the Witsup podcast.
Yeah, right. Far out. It's actually, can I just want to read your message that I got last night, and I obviously won't give names or anything.
No.
But this is a message that just said, I just wanted to say thank you so much for your podcast on Healthy Body. It has helped me recognise that I'm going down the spiral you referred to, and has given me the inspiration I needed to seek help. Thank you. And that exact message, and we've received quite a few similar kind of messages over the past couple of weeks. But I love that one came in last night, because you and I specifically said, if this helps one person, then we will be stoked. And feedback about the podcast itself, great topic, is fantastic, but the whole gist of it is to actually make a change, and it's really comforting to know that these kind of discussions can help. Yeah.
I don't know if you just saw my face then when you said it, but I imagine that my eyes lit up slightly. That actually, that is incredible if it has helped one person, and even if it's not quite now, but maybe someone in 6 months' time or a year, or a coach is a bit more open or anything like that, then yeah, I think I'm really chuffed. But it's in a way we do the easy thing of
absolutely
putting it together and putting it out there, but for everyone else to open up and trust us with their stories and things like that, that's the harder thing. So for Renee and Jodie and Cody and Felicity to all share their stories, and I think they all wanted to do it because of having been through it themselves and wanting to help others as well.
Absolutely. I wanted to go back. Sorry, I'm just checking to make sure. Guys, can you just let us know that everything's still working okay? I'm just getting a bit of a signal that something's not far out. So let me just put it out there, guys. Can you still hear us okay and see us okay? before I jump on to the next question. Just give me a second, Helen. I think we're okay. I wanted to go back to before you even reached out to me. I mean, we've spoken for a while now that we wanted to work together in some capacity. Thank you, Jordan has just said that it's all good. I'm not sure what happened there, but what was your driving factor for this particular topic? Why this topic?
So a few things. There would definitely be a few things. One would have been when I did a special about periods a couple of years ago. And the feedback from that was just, it was like this, it was insane. And you think, oh, actually, there is almost a bit of a duty to do this kind of stuff. Yeah, we love speaking to athletes week in, week out, but to provide a different angle on things as well. And, you know, I think we all go through those similar feelings, or just, in a way, education, and perhaps starting those conversations that you might not feel comfortable having with certain people around you, or just getting that kind of message out there. So I think after doing that one and speaking to some people who would have said about not having had a period for years and then the consequences of that, I think some of that would definitely tie in with disordered eating and redis and all that kind of stuff. So it was almost like, right, there's more to go at there. And then it really was when I did the interview with Renee Kiley, and and we got on to the topic of body image and disordered eating, and then I'm like, right, I have to do more on that. So that was how.
How are you, and I'll share my experience, just in terms of this podcast series. It's quite a heavy, like it's an emotional, it's a mental drain, speaking about it, taking on people's stories. Personally, it's hit me quite hard myself, just taking on those emotional stories, I guess. How have you, and it's all great, like we never want to stop people sharing stories, and I take it all as a positive, absolutely, but some days I have to really focus on breathing and just trying to, you know, step away from it, because it can be quite intense. How are you going with all of the feedback and taking on those stories? Because you've probably listened to the stories that we published probably 5 times more than I have, 10 times more, because you did all of the editing as well.
That's a really, really interesting question, Steph. Good question there.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna say that I honestly think a lot, because of my background in journalism, I've covered a lot of very emotional stories like that, I think. And so it's not that I don't care at all, because I really do, and I wouldn't do what I do without it. And I think I would also chat to my husband after some interviews like that and go, because you do almost have to get it out of your head and share it with someone else. But I don't know if I've really answered your question, but I do think because of having covered stories like that in the past, it's not like you get used to it, because that sounds completely heartless.
No, it doesn't. I don't think it sounds heartless at all. That is a skill that you need to create and hone over years of doing that kind of work. I guess it's similar to doctors, surgeons who at some point have to step away from it. Otherwise, they would just get bogged down in the emotional and mental side of things. And
And that was what I was going to say. So when I don't have my podcast hat on, I work part-time in cancer and exercise rehab.
Another light subject.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for every 10 times that you feel, you would say, far out. Like for every 10 times you get that, you get one story, which, like you said, 10 minutes ago, when someone said, I've recognized this. And so basically you get one feel-good story for every 10, but that feel-good story is like, it's like on steroids. Like it's so amazing. Yeah. So I think it is all, quite intense, all the stuff I do, which is then, I don't know, that's probably then why I do like going for a run or going out on my bike or going swimming or all that kind of stuff, because then that would be my escapism. And dancing around to Shakira or burying myself in Spanish podcasts, like just something completely different.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's another kind of, I guess, trigger for me. The other day I shouldn't say I made myself go for a ride, because I actually woke up and was like, I need to get out the door. I need to go and do what I love doing, which is riding my bike is absolutely my number one, and felt just incredible. And it was raining. It was horrible weather, but I absolutely loved it. And I think we're kind of almost doing a full circle, that we're finding again, those mental breaks and just the headspace, but also the endorphins from exercise. And I don't know, I've just felt like I've kind of forgotten that, because I've just been thinking, I've got to work, I've got to get this done. Everything's heightened at the moment. So I think you nailed it with that one. And it's something I need to learn as well. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. I guess a self-made journalist, and some of those skills maybe I haven't quite developed yet, and maybe that's something I need to work on.
But I do think I think it takes time. And then even then, I was thinking about what I just said about getting almost used to it. But I do think, but it's so different, isn't it, to having a normal, like, let's say a normal interview with an athlete where you're laughing all the time. It's very, very different to then going on a very sensitive topic. Completely different. And it's almost like a different skill set that requires you have to have that different skill set to be able to do that interview and get the most out of it. Yeah,
definitely. What's one thing that you've learnt, either about yourself or just the bigger picture, from this mini series?
So I really do think that I went through that involuntary redis. Just speaking to Renee McGregor. We should just say that Renee McGregor and then Renee Kiley, we had to hammer it home. No,
oh my gosh,
because they both felt the same, aren't they?
Yeah, there were so many bloopers, mainly from my end.
So listening to Renee McGregor, who's the leading sports dietitian, and she was talking about, actually, it's not uncommon for a lot of age group athletes and athletes to go through this involuntary redis, whereby you're just not getting enough rest and enough calories for all of the training that you're doing. So I think I learned that. And I also learned that in the people that we spoke to, so this is not everybody at all, but with the ones that we spoke to, there can be a positive outcome as well.
Yep, I like that. I like it. Shall we move on, just because you're here on the Witsup Weekly Grind? Or is there anything else that you would like to talk about the podcast?
I don't think so. I think, for everyone who has listened to it, thank you so much. And and do carry on messaging us and things like that. And I think that there is more to do on it. It's almost like I feel like we've scratched the surface. So
absolutely.
We'll have a chat when this is over.
Yeah. And yes, sorry, I did forget to say thank you to everyone who have listened, but also obviously to our guests as well. And if you haven't listened already, the first episode is on the Inside Try podcast. You can simply just go to insidetry.com/listen.
Or Inside Try Show.
Sorry, Inside Try Show. That one.
Yeah.
Go to that one.
That one. Yeah, go to that one.
I will leave a link in the description below so you can check that out at the end of it. So that is where you'll find part 1, and then part 2 is on our very own Witsup podcast platform. Let's move on to some other things.
Okay.
Normally we talk about a bit of triathlon news, but there's not a whole lot going on.
Not a whole load. I had a look before we hit record. I was like, I could really just tell you that Fenella Langridge has been wearing different hats in the latest VR8.
Yes.
And I thought she had a good hat game going on.
Great hat game. It concerns me about, there's a couple of things she's got to work on. The aerodynamics of said hats and the transition of switching hats over. But hey, we've all got to work on something and, tighten up those little things that cost us seconds in the grand scheme.
Yeah. And what would your, if you could have one hat, Steph, what hat would you have? Other than your Witsup beanie.
I actually used to have a goofy hat years ago that I got from Disneyland when I went with my nan and pop. And that is the first thing that popped into my head. So let's go with that one. How about you?
It would have to be a sombrero.
Ooh, nice. Good for shade. Not so great when you're indoors, but hey.
No, hard to get through doorways sometimes.
Yep.
Depending on how big they are. Yeah.
That just reminds me of all those dog videos of like little dogs with big sticks trying to run through gates and just keep smashing into them.
Like that. Definitely like that. Yeah. So yeah, it would be a sombrero. So I spotted that, and there's not that much else going on, is there?
No, I don't think we've even mentioned it on Witsup yet, but Åsa Lundstrom had her baby now 4 weeks ago.
Awesome news.
Yeah, so he was becoming well overdue from what I understand, because we did a podcast pretty much the date she was due, and then I kept following it every day, and I think it was like a week or so that finally he I was so ready for Frankie. I'm like, let's do this.
But we have a mini Lundstrom.
We have a mini Lundstrom, and Anya Ipak.
Yes, who used to be Anya
Beranek.
Yep.
She had her little mate as well within the last 48 hours. I saw a photo.
Nice.
So,
nice
we've got a few new Try babies. So we'll have to keep an eye on those little people as they go. Hey, let's move on to what happens in ISO stays in ISO. I want to hear what's been going on in your world that perhaps won't continue in the real world.
Okay, so you did mention, Steph, at the beginning, you mentioned toilet rolls.
I did.
Yeah, okay, so I had kind of forgotten about that because we haven't done one for a while. So this was completely influenced by Lucy Gossage, because Lucy Gossage was trying to come up with a way for Cancer 5K Your Way to move at home, basically. So she set up a toilet roll and tin challenge on the stairs. If you haven't seen it, just Google Lucy Gossage toilet roll challenge or something like that, and it will come up. So we did the toilet roll and tin challenge and had much hilarity doing it, and put a little bit of music behind it and all that kind of stuff, and it looked very fun, and people were like, oh, this is great. And then this was very much at the beginning of lockdown, because then we pretty much did about 11 videos in the space of 2 weeks. So every evening we would then come up with another toilet roll challenge. I say we, my husband and I. And there was planking while trying to push a toilet roll across the floor in the lounge. Yeah. There was toilet rolls. So some were upright and some were on their side. And you know that game where you have to like almost be in a bit of a crab walk position and flip cones over? We did that, but with toilet rolls. Yep. We did a wheelbarrow race with a toilet roll. So you're almost like in a high plank and someone else has got your legs. And it was like first to tap the toilet roll, but Rich's calves are about 3 times the size of mine, so his legs are a lot heavier. I'm like,
oh gosh.
yeah, so that will definitely stay in ISO. And then I was having a little think. So if we go on, we can now in the UK go out on our bikes a little bit further and things like that. But everywhere's still shut. So, there's no coffee stops until we get to our corner shop, which is pretty much when we're back home. And yesterday I was like, I'm going for a coffee and I'm having a cake takeout from the shop. It's literally 2 minutes from home. So coffee stop rides at the very end of a ride.
Yep.
That doesn't normally happen.
Really? See, I never do a coffee mid-ride. My coffee stops are at the end of a ride. Always.
Well, I think it's a lot better to do it at the end, but usually we don't often.
Yeah, right.
Often stop. Yeah.
My goodness.
Criminal, hey?
Hey, just quickly, Nikki Bartlett has tuned in and says, hey, amazing people. Hi, Nikki. How you doing?
Hi, Spider-Man.
Anything else on what happens in ISO stays in ISO?
The fridge being completely almost on the verge of empty. Like the fridge is very rarely empty. We don't waste any food.
Yeah.
But it's almost like we would go a little bit more often to the supermarket or just pick up a bag of salad here and there. Yeah. Whereas honestly, if I were to go downstairs now and show you my fridge, like I'm disgusted by it. There's like one apple. we have supermarket stuff happening tomorrow, so that's fine. And then Steph, the final thing.
Yeah.
6:45 yoga club.
Oh, of course. But you're not going to continue it.
Well, see, if the pools ever open again, I'd be swimming early. So I'd like to think that I would swim, don't know, maybe 2 mornings a week. And then maybe carry on with 6:45 Zoom yoga club the other days. It's great. It's amazing.
I'll take your word for it. I gave yoga a shot once and gave up.
I'm now addicted.
Well, I guess that could be my what happens in ISO stays in ISO. My one shot at yoga. Yeah. You mentioned challenges and the toilet roll challenge, obviously being the height of your challenges during ISO.
Yeah.
And that it was quite early on. We've seen there's so many challenges out there, and I'm a competitive person, but I cannot get on board with the challenges. I can't do it. I don't know.
What's stopping you there? Just like virtual world, what?
Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe I'm just like, oh, everyone else is doing it. I like to, I don't know. I like to, I don't know, just do my own. I don't know. I like to be different. I don't know. I don't know what's stopping me. But maybe actually because I spend so much time on social media for work that I don't want to then do more social media. I just maybe need to step away from it.
It's like that, having that break, isn't it?
Yeah.
Clearing your head. Yeah.
But in saying that, then I post a lot of photos on my own social. But I think that's more because I want instant feedback about my work because I'm trying to get better at photography. So I take a lot of photos and then I can get that instant feedback. So then I use it for that. So I don't know. I think I'm a walking contradiction, to be honest.
Well, your photos are very good. So
thank you.
Feedback straight away. Yeah, photos are very, very good. I've done one challenge, one virtual challenge. Yes. I was just thinking, have I done more? But definitely one which didn't involve toilet rolls. I was like, come on, we need to go and take a stick and have a toilet roll finish line. And Rich was like, no. He just about was okay with a stick and a T-shirt for a flag to mark the finish line. So it was a triathlon that we were meant to do in April. And yeah, we did that as a virtual race, but it wasn't actually that virtual because we had each other to race against.
Gotcha. Yeah.
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 And that was quite... It was quite competitive. It was quite fun.
Oh, geez. I love it. Okay, just rounding things up. What is your favourite thing that has happened in the past week? And it doesn't have to be triathlon related.
Okay, so holding the crow pose for 3 seconds in yoga the other day. That's the one whereby you're sort of balancing on your hands with your, I don't know, your knees are by your...
Up on your elbows.
Yeah. So 3 seconds I managed. I was quite happy with that.
Yeah, right. I mean, congratulations. That's a great accomplishment. I'm very proud. I don't know why, but I always thought that was an elephant stand. I don't know why. I don't, I also used to think that the slash in a website was a backslash.
I did hear your interview with Emma Snowsill, actually, and at the very beginning, you're like, yes, I've just learned that it's actually / or slash.
So for those of you who don't know, we were recording the intros to part one, yes, that is on the Inside Try Show podcast, and we recorded the intros to it, and every time I'd give a website, I'd
Patreon.
say
we were trying to do the Patreon thing, weren't we? Or Patreon, whatever. And you were like, backslash. I said, Steph, do they say backslash in Australia? Not thinking, never really heard it. But anyway, I'll just ask. And you were like, oh.
And then you Googled it. I've been saying backslash forever. That's why we're not making any money, because everyone's going to the wrong website that doesn't exist. Anyway, elephant poses. That's great. Congrats on your 3-second crow pose. I'm very impressed.
Thank you. That was that. And then it's kind of serious, but equally it's good. So one of the people that I've been supporting through my work with Move Charity messaged me and said, Helen, I'm celebrating 6 months post chemo they said, I've just run my first 10K since finishing chemo, and I had supported this person
that's amazing.
Probably very soon after they had finished chemo, and help them build back up again. And then they said, I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then I said, I hope you celebrated. Yeah, I've had half a bottle of champagne.
Yes. Good.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, congrats. That's really good news. That's fantastic.
Thanks.
That's really cool. My favourite thing is going to kind of pale in comparison to that. Actually, no, if you look at the bigger picture, have you heard of RuPaul's Drag Race?
I've heard of it, but I don't really know much about it.
That's okay. I am now addicted to it, and I finally figured out why. It's funny, like it's amazing. Their creativity is incredible. Like they are artists. It's so good. But I was watching a behind the scenes one just the other day. They're on tour, and it finally dawned on me on how much I love it. And it's because these people have found their inner self and are just letting that fly. And it just, I just think we live in a world where everything is, I mean, I was about to say, like, things can be so fake, and you'll hear them say stuff like, oh, like, I'm a dude dressing up as a woman and I've got all this makeup on, like, you can't get more fake type of thing. And they joke around, but essentially it's who they want to be. It's when they're their happiest, performing and letting their inner, like, drag queen, show, and they're just so happy doing that. And I just think it takes a lot of courage and a lot of work on yourself to find out what actually makes your heart sing. And it's I don't know, I find it really interesting and quite inspiring. It's been really cool.
I love that. And Steph, that, I mean, God, we could probably talk about what makes your heart sing for another half an hour, but and I think it evolves. I think it constantly changes, and but when you are able to find that a little bit, oh my God, it's so liberating, isn't it? It's magical.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agree. Okay, I said I want to go for about half an hour. We've hit 35 minutes. That's really good for me. It's really good
going. Well done.
Thank you so much for joining us. Before you go, please just remind everyone where they can find not only the Healthy Body podcast, but all things Inside Tri Show.
Yeah, just head over to insidetrishow.com. There we go. And it's now on across social media. So Inside Tri Show on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Give me a follow, subscribe to the podcast. That would be amazing. And do whatever else you want. But thanks for all the messages about the Healthy Body series. And thank you, Steph, for giving me the opportunity to do it with you as well. It's been awesome.
Thank you so much. It's been amazing working with you, and I hope that we've got a lot more projects and mini-series to come.
We could make it a series.
What? Oh my goodness. Everyone out there who has been watching, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast, downloading and subscribing and all that jazz. If you can, please make sure that you also give us a rating on the podcast channels that you listen to. That's over on the Inside Tri Show and on the Witsup podcast. Those episodes are going to be there for a long time, so it's not like you've missed out if you haven't listened to it. Make sure you just jump on our podcast platforms, give it a listen, and please keep sending in your feedback. Helen, thank you so much. We're going to shut it down, and
awesome.
You can go to bed or probably enjoy that glass of red wine.
That one right there.
That was smooth. Nice work.
It's a smooth wine.
Well played.
While you enjoy your coffee.
Yep, I'm going to jump online and get an Uber delivery while I can. Thanks, guys. We'll see you again back to the regular time next week, 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on Monday. Helen, thank you so much. And thank you guys for tuning in. Cheers.